Totally cooperating, just with not doing anything, but I'm cooperating. Sir, I will be very cooperative. All right, let's try that, please.
That's not you on the 27th? Food line parking lot, Traveler's Rest?
I don't think so.
Look, man.
Where's Edna? I don't know where Edna is.
Yes, you do.
It's not making sense, though. You're the last person to be in a vehicle you wiped out of a lady that's missing.
That sounds really up.
28 years ago, this man abducted a woman and was sentenced to 30 years in prison. 3 decades later, 80-year-old Edna Subtles is seen picking him up in a quiet parking lot. It would be the final time anyone laid eyes on her alive. Days later, detectives retraced Edna's path, uncovering footage of the same man, now behind the wheel of her car. If police could follow that lead, they might uncover where Edna had gone.
She's missing right now.
Yes, Dan, where is Edna?
I don't have a clue.
Police would soon discover Edna was not his only victim.
If you tell him to turn that off, I can talk to you a little more freely.
Around 9 a.m. on August 27th, 80-year-old Edna steps out of her Traveler's Rest home, heading to check on a friend. Just hours later, 911 dispatchers receive a disturbing call.
Greenville County 911, what's your emergency?
A sitter was supposed to show up to be with my mom today. Her name is Edna Subtles, and she didn't show up. This is not like her. She shows up like clockwork. So something's wrong.
This call was only the beginning of a long chain of mysteries. When officers arrived at Edna Subtles' home for a welfare check, no one answered the door. There were no signs of forced entry, and Edna was nowhere to be found. But when police questioned her son, he revealed something chilling. $50,000 worth of jewelry gone, and even more alarming, Edna's car was missing. Finding that vehicle would be the most critical step in the case, the only clue to her last known movements. Immediately, a search for Edna's car began. 6 days later, it turned up abandoned, in the parking lot of a Traveler's Rest hotel. This was strange. Edna lived nearby. She had no reason to stay there. Hotel staff confirmed no one under Edna's name had ever checked in. To dig deeper, investigators turned to surveillance cameras, retracing her path. At 9:30 a.m., a pawn shop camera captured Edna leaving her home, driving toward a local Food Lion grocery store. 9 minutes later, she pulled into the lot. A man approached, carrying 2 bags, climbed into her car, and Edna drove them back to her home. Hours passed. At 1:43 p.m., Edna's car pulled away again, heading for the same Food Lion. But this time, the driver wasn't Edna. It was the same older white man she had picked up earlier. He parked beside his own vehicle, opened Edna's car, and dragged something into his trunk. Frame by frame, detectives analyzed the footage. What they saw was unmistakable. The glint of golden hair belonging to Edna Subtles. Minutes later, at 1:47 p.m., the man drove her car to the hotel lot. He parked, wiped down the doors and seats, erasing every trace of himself. By 2:14 p.m., he was back at Food Lion, slipping into his own vehicle and vanishing. That was the last time anyone saw Edna or the man. The investigation now centered on one urgent question. Who was he? But the video was grainy, his face too distant to identify. The case seemed ready to stall. Then detectives had an idea. The man had been carrying shopping bags. That meant he'd made a purchase. Inside the Food Lion, cameras had caught him. When officers pulled the footage, the truth hit them hard. It was Daniel Prince, a man with a dark history. Back in 1997, he kidnapped a woman in Michigan, bound her hands, chained her body. By sheer luck, she broke free and escaped. Prince was sentenced to 30 years, but by 2009, he was already out, on parole. The worst was yet to come. Since his release, Prince worked as a handyman. His clients, mostly elderly, single women. A chilling match to his previous victim and to Edna. For investigators, the realization was terrifying. They weren't just chasing a thief. They had a convicted kidnapper on the run, and there was a chance Edna was still alive. Detectives had to move fast. Kidnapping or murder charges were out of reach for now. But they had probable cause for grand larceny. A warrant was secured for Daniel Prince's arrest and a search of his property. Officers rushed to his residence, hoping they weren't too late.
Totally cooperating. Just relax. Not doing anything without cooperate. All right, oh my God. Stand up on your feet. Right there. Yeah. Sir, I will be very cooperative.
Despite dozens of heavily armed officers swarming Prince's property, he stayed unnervingly calm, composed, almost as if he already had a plan to slip away from the situation. The footage that followed would later be reviewed by criminal research expert and a retired detective. His goal, to reveal the subtle techniques used during the interrogation. When Prince was led into the interview room, detectives began with a friendly, casual tone, a deliberate tactic designed to lower his guard. They didn't want him realizing he'd already been caught on camera.
What do you do now?
I do a lot of home remodeling, home repairs. I lay a lot of tile, and I got a customer base that has me doing stuff.
Okay, so why Boston, North Carolina, come all the way down from, say, Michigan or Wisconsin?
Okay, here, this is real easy. I'm originally from the east side of the state of Michigan, but I was in prison in Michigan for a while, and when I paroled to the west side of the state.
Okay. What'd you get locked up for? Because you said you got paroled.
I was locked up for a kidnapping charge.
Okay.
And I did 13 and a half years for that.
Oh, wow.
I did 1.5 years for a false statement on a vehicle title. You know, when they're not sure if they're going to make something, they want something to hold you with. So the false statement, that's all that was. The kidnapping, I was doing some bad shit that I shouldn't have been doing.
Fair enough.
But I shouldn't have gotten kidnapping. But I was doing some bad shit.
What kind of shit? What shit have you gotten?
I really don't want to say.
We're just bullshitting.
No,
We're just bullshitting.
Nothing when you're talking to two police detectives in a room. It's just bullshit. Okay, I've been through the system enough to know that. Yeah. All I'm going to say about that is I did my time. I made my first parole, and I haven't been in trouble since.
Hey, and that's great to know. You know, a lot of people, especially being what you've been through, they come out and they go right back to it.
Just because he's a convicted criminal doesn't automatically tie him to Edna's disappearance. But the evidence in detectives' hands told a very different story, one far removed from the image of a hard-working, reformed man. Prince wanted the world to believe.
I'll talk to you about August 27th, 2021 of this year.
What day of the week was that?
Oh, it was a Friday.
Okay.
Okay, so specifically the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
What, 2 weeks ago? Do you remember where you were at?
Not specifically.
Where do you think you were at?
I've been going all over the place. I've been back and forth to Charlotte. I've been down to South Carolina.
Like, where's the jobs in South Carolina taking you?
Actually, I was down to Traveler's Rest, but I don't know if it was Friday or Thursday. I know I'd been there earlier that week.
But you don't remember which day specifically?
No, it was either Thursday or Friday.
What kind of job were you working on?
I wasn't.
You wasn't?
I wasn't. This lady had talked to me several times. I'd been down to her house 2 or 3 times. We kind of got to be friends. This woman has so many damn problems, mostly her daughter. She would call me and have me come down there.
Okay.
She said she needed to have money at one point in time to help her daughter because her daughter was in jail. Then she needed money another time because she was hiring a private investigator. Because her son-in-law she talked to me all kinds of stuff about it. We got to be pretty good friends about stuff like that.
Okay. How'd you meet her initially?
Years ago.
Okay.
Years ago, it was somebody given me her name or number, or my name and number.
Here, detectives study every move he makes, letting Prince dig his own hole, a hole he'll never climb out of once the truth is revealed. And when that moment comes, he'll deny, 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 even as the evidence piles up and speaks louder than his words ever could.
What you're telling us is that's not you on the 27th? Food line parking lot, Traveler's Rest?
I don't think so.
That's not you.
That's me. Where's that?
Food line, August 27th, 2021, 9:23.
Okay.
22 seconds. Ringing a bell?
Yep. Yeah, I went down to Food Alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were you doing down there that day?
She wanted me to look at some stuff at her house,
Okay.
and she picked me up at Food Lion because she wanted me with her when she was gonna go meet some guy for private investigator.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us about that.
She wanted me to meet her down there.
Okay.
She was nervous because she says, I'm not sure I trust this guy. And she knows I've been in the military. And she says, will you meet me? She wanted me to see if this guy was going to meet her where he was supposed to meet her.
Do you know where?
There was a hotel lobby that he had finally said, meet me at the hotel.
Okay.
She says, drive up there and see if he's there. And I drove up there, and things are starting to sound really squirrely to me.
This is classic deflection. Prince isn't just trying to steer suspicion away from himself, he's actively redirecting it towards someone else. In this case, the private investigator. According to Prince, Edna had planned to meet that investigator the very day before she was reported missing. He even claimed she felt unsafe meeting him alone, but detectives knew better. They had already reviewed the surveillance footage, and what it revealed utterly destroyed his story. Every word Prince spoke was contradicted on camera.
What were you driving?
I was driving a blue car.
Your wife's car or your car?
My wife's car.
So that's y'all coming down 25, you and her together?
It could be.
Okay, because that's her car. That's about 13:45 on the 27th.
Okay.
So you're with her there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not saying yeah. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that could be her.
Yeah, it's a different angle. But I mean, we've watched this car, right?
Okay.
Here's y'all in the hotel parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh look, there's y'all backing in.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of different copies of it. Backing in.
Yeah.
Oh look, you get out. Nobody else gets out.
I told you that.
You're walking around the car.
Yeah.
You wipe the entire car down.
Because I was worried.
You were worried. There's you walking across the parking lot in front of Little Caesars.
Mm-hmm.
And there's you getting back into your car and driving away.
Oh, she's with me.
Look, man, you are a good dude. I honestly do believe that you screwed up years and years ago.
Prince appears visibly shaken as detectives lay photo after photo before him. The evidence is undeniable. Yet he still tries to lie his way out. But photographs aren't the only proof investigators have uncovered. On the wheels of Prince's car, they find mud that suggests he left the road, driving off into the wilderness to kill Edna or to dispose of her body. And it is here, at this exact moment, that his carefully woven story begins to unravel, piece by piece.
You're not a bad guy, right? Nobody is saying that you're some evil, twisted dude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We need to know where it is. We've processed the car. We found the dirt. Where did you go off-road? Where did you leave?
Oh, I can tell you exactly where she and I had gone off-road.
Please.
When we were going from 25 south, there was, off to the right, there was a truck with a trailer and another vehicle there that had a for sale sign on it. And it looked like an older truck. And I needed a work truck. And I went ahead and I pulled in and with her. And then we pulled out. And it was right there on 25.
Even when confronted with overwhelming evidence, Prince refuses to admit guilt. He even tries to seize control of the conversation, but the detectives have him boxed in with no way out. And now, his calm exterior begins to crack, his composure slipping fast.
Where's right now? Her family is desperately looking for her.
She's missing right now.
Yes, Dan, where is Edna?
I don't have a clue.
Yes,
I dropped her off at her house.
Dan, please listen. You did not drop her off at her house. We have followed that car the entire day, up and down 25. There's a number of minutes that are unaccounted for that are not by her house.
Which car? Mine or hers?
Dan, stop playing games. You know what we're
When I
talking
got,
about.
okay, I can help you here.
Okay.
You gotta give me a second. You gotta let me answer the questions when they're asked. When I dropped her vehicle off looking for the guy, she said she wanted me to take her and drive around in my vehicle. So I left her vehicle. I went down to Food Lion and she was in my vehicle with me. And I dropped her off at home.
Dan, we watched the video. She is not.
The car sits there.
It sits there, man.
No, not in her car.
Never.
My car.
We
I
watched you
dropped
go
her
back
off
to
in
Food
my
Lion.
car.
You did not drop anyone off, man.
I picked her back up. She sat in my car at Food Lion and I went back and got her.
No, you did not.
Detectives begin to tighten the pressure on Prince, pushing harder with every question, every word he speaks. Another lie. Still, he stays defensive, dodging, deflecting. He even tries to shrug off the possibility that he may have already destroyed crucial evidence.
I don't know where Edna is.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Dan.
Let's go back to why you wiped the car down. What you said you were worried about what?
The only thing I did was because I knew I'd been in and out of her car all the time with her. I'm like, there is no way in hell I'm going to just leave this thing here because she's got somebody that's after her.
Prince once again tries to shift suspicion, claiming Edna might have wandered into danger on her own. But what he doesn't realize is that these detectives are far too prepared and ready for every excuse.
Who would be after her?
Who's after her?
That guy with the truck, she said she didn't trust him.
The PI?
Yeah, so somebody she hired as a PI.
His story's totally different. He's been doing work for her. I mean, on the son-in-law thing. I mean, we've interviewed. I mean, he had no, he didn't meet with her today. So that's
Right, that's why I said she hired another PI. I'm sure you're recording this.
It's not making sense. I mean, you're the last person to be in a vehicle you wiped out of a lady that's missing.
That sounds really fun.
It does. That's why we're here.
I've been real honest with you guys. I told you what was going on.
Detectives finally get Prince to admit he was with Edna on the day she vanished. He claims he was only helping her meet a suspicious private investigator, but they see it for what it is, a desperate attempt to deflect suspicion and distance himself from the crime. Prince insists he dropped Edna home, safe and sound, but detectives prove he was the last person to see her alive. That admission locks him into a lie that will eventually lead to a chilling confession. When police search his property, they uncover several automatic weapons. Because of his prior convictions, he's forbidden from owning firearms. That means federal charges and guaranteed detention. With Prince held, investigators keep searching his land. What they discover is one of the most critical pieces of evidence yet, a yogurt cup. The very yogurt Prince purchased. Shortly before Edna disappeared, tests reveal it's laced with a drug cocktail, lorazepam, tramadol, cyclobenzaprine. Together, they depress the central nervous system, slow the body down, sedation, exactly what witnesses saw when Edna sat slumped in Prince's car, drugged, defenseless, led away to her death at the hands of a sadistic killer. Prince begins to realize he's trapped, no escape left. So detectives bring him back in, and this time he confesses, not just to Edna's murder, but to 3 others. His first victim was Dolores Sears. Prince claims he euthanized her at the request of her daughter, Nancy Rigo. But when Nancy had second thoughts and threatened to go to police, she became his next target. Nancy was murdered by the same disturbed killer, and for years afterward, Prince stole her social security checks using the power of attorney she had once signed over. Investigators even found Nancy's documents on his property. Since 2017, he had been sending emails and messages, pretending to be her, to convince her family she was still alive. His third victim was Lee Goodman. Prince claims Goodman tried to rob him. Like Nancy, Like Edna, Goodman's body was discarded in some desolate location. And finally, his fourth victim, Edna Subtles. Her body would be discovered a year later, May 16th, 2022, buried in...
There was quite a lot of stuff found in your B house. There could be a million explanations for some of that stuff, and I don't want to jump to conclusions. And if there's something that happened that you didn't intend to happen, let's talk about it.
There are things that have to happen, and there are things that are going to happen. And I'm a realist, and I have acceptance with this. I would like a little bit of control in how they happen. If you tell them to turn that off, I will talk to you a little more freely.
When the cameras stopped rolling, Prince made one last push to control the narrative and tilt the outcome in his favor. By cutting a deal, he avoided trial, promising to reveal where Edna's body was hidden. In return, his case shifted to federal court, granting him better prison conditions. More importantly, he escaped the death penalty and secured life imprisonment instead. At first glance, it might appear careless for detectives not to film his confession, but what Prince never knew was that a hidden audio recorder was still running, and on it he delivered a terrifying confession.
Okay, let's put it this way. A person I was very good friends with wanted to do something to put someone basically out of their misery that was very closely related to them. That's one body. That person started having an extreme amount of guilt over this and decided they were going to go tell what had happened. That's the second body. There's a third body that I did not kill, and I knew that they'd be getting Social Security disability for the rest of their life. So I got rid of said bodies, for example, so that I could continue to use the car.
By any chance, while he's getting all this squared away, can you just help me get that closure for Edna's family?
Not until I have this. I clam up like a clam if this doesn't go federal for everything.
Daniel Prince thought he could outsmart investigators, that with lies, manipulation, and carefully crafted stories, he would maintain control. But in the end, the truth was undeniable. His crimes, calculated, cold, and predatory, spanned years and left behind a trail of grief that no deal or confession could ever erase. Edna's family finally had answers, though at a devastating cost. And the justice system ensured that Prince would never again walk free. For detectives, this case was a reminder. Killers don't always wear masks of violence. Sometimes they hide behind the image of a neighbor, a friend, even a so-called reformed man. But eventually, the lies collapse and justice closes in. Daniel Prince will spend the rest of his life behind bars. And while that may not heal the pain he caused, it guarantees one thing: he will never harm another soul again.